Good morning, afternoon even, ladies and gentlemen. I've heard today a 42-year veteran. Sadly, I beat that. Gladly, I'm a northerner, born in Bradford, living in Surrey, working in Manchester and presenting here in Humberside, so cosmopolitan, eh? Peel is a land, asset and infrastructure private firm with an appetite for commercial investment where it makes sense. And we are committed to the Northwest as a decarbonised energy cluster, and we will do so on the back of sensible and pragmatic economics. And as such, we see Peter's presentation as the basis, kind of the foundation, if you like, for a decarbonised energy cluster. It needs an anchor project, and this is it. But before I get into the environment, there are other decarbonised energy plays, of course, and they include the potential in the Northwest for small modular reactors, potentially. It includes the opportunity for wind, for solar, and for tidal. It includes biotransformations. It includes hydrogen from non-recyclable plastics, which is something that Peel has just invested in at our Protos site. So I just want to highlight that nothing stands alone. It's all part of a bigger picture. So in my 5 minutes, I wanted just to reference why an investor, an asset owner, is here presenting to you. And it's because we think the glue is kind of important in a supply chain. It's not just about the big projects, it's about how projects are connected, how you connect supply to demand. And as such, if you could humour me by looking at the Northwest and this particular play, which kind of overlays Peter's map of the HyNet project, and including both the hydrogen new build pipeline and the small piece of carbon capture storage pipeline, which needs to connect to existing infrastructure. So looking at the chart, it's obvious up there is Liverpool, over here is Manchester, down here is Chester, to the left is the Ellesmere Port industrial area, which goes off to the left, dominated in many ways by SR's Stanler refinery. Up here in the peninsula, you see the Runcorn industrial complexes. In the centre, you'll see a large glass manufacturing facility, the ammonia plant, which Peter referred to. And in the middle, you'll see this whole chunk of land, which actually includes a wind farm, which is another Peel asset. But the important thing is the concentration in this area, as Peter highlighted, and thereby the opportunity to connect supply and demand in an attractive and sensible and scalable way. Important to recognise that the Manchester Ship Canal, and I hate to sound dull, but yet another Peel asset, connects the cities of Manchester to Liverpool and is a hugely important contiguous piece of opportunity, if you like, for infrastructure management, and it will be no surprise to you that we see that as one of the potential routes for some of the pipeline routing which may accrue in due course. So this Protos area is an energy innovation park. It's about 54 hectares, and it has a number of facilities in various stages of development. It has a biomass plant which is operational. It has a energy from waste plant which starts construction later this year. It has the potential for a bio-SNG plant, which is being sponsored through by Progressive Energy, which actually goes to planning today, with a positive determination, at least in principle, we hope. And then there is a further plant, which is the recyclable plastics to hydrogen. And we wouldn't be considering developing the infrastructure within the Protos facility, which is about £200 million spent and a lot more to come, in order to connect markets, to connect supply to demand and offer a multi-vector approach to energy management in the Northwest. So I just think it's really important, in the same way as the Northwest has a superbly presented project, the Northwest also has a connected play. And let's be honest, we need all of these clusters in order to progress. So just moving on rather swiftly, the the macroeconomics here, and I've heard many numbers, and I continue to hear many numbers, and the only thing you can be absolutely sure about is that none of them are right. So the numbers of billions of pounds of GVA and jobs, the important part is that over the overall energy innovation district, which encompasses North Cheshire and a whole host of the industries in the North Cheshire and indeed Deeside area, offer a huge opportunity for not only decarbonisation, but because of the potential for private wire within the Protos site and wider, for some level of decentralisation, which again is a theme which we've heard much about today. So the macroeconomics, the jobs, the GVA, all offer the opportunities. We don't know what the numbers are. Nobody knows what the numbers are, but this is a positive play and something which we believe is investable. So just dwelling on the investability for a moment, there right now isn't a way I could go to my financial director and say, please give me X million pounds for a position in this plant, because there isn't a stable long-term price signal for carbon. We don't know what regulatory and fiscal barriers, what the government carrot and the government stick will be. And let's be honest, we need a government carrot and a government stick. We don't know what they are. So right now we sit along and work along on a this sounds the right thing to do basis, which gets me so far before I get a tap on the shoulder. So delivering no returns is an issue, but we believe in the area. It's important. One thing I just want to, I mentioned 3 plants there that use biomass as a substrate. Now, if Peter is successful in developing the HyNet project, then we have the opportunity at Protos of connecting into that infrastructure. And at that point, the carbon dioxide produced from those biological substrates offer the opportunity for negative emissions and in terms of BECCS. And that becomes quite attractive. But we can't put the chicken before the egg, or can we? But we're looking at that. We're looking at exactly that, what we would have to do within this large energy innovation site to have a carbon infrastructure there where we could connect into the HyNet infrastructure. A lot of people have talked about CCUS today, and I'm nearly done, and I haven't heard anyone talk about U so much. So U stands for utilisation. It is obvious that it's sensible and pragmatic that where possible to reduce the quantity of carbon dioxide being stored underground in the East Irish Sea, it's sensible and pragmatic to consider carefully whether that carbon dioxide can be used either for building materials, for shorter chain hydrocarbons, even for animal feed, for goodness sake. There's a lot of opportunities. So we've commissioned a small piece of work to look at the opportunity for carbon utilisation, so that we do look at that opportunity, because an opportunity it is. Certainly there are those academics that view carbon utilisation and the use of carbon as, they view it as madness that we're going to stick it underground. Well, to a degree, yes, and there is the unknown in Rumsfeldian words. So we're going to have a look at that and see whether there's an opportunity for that market. And finally, there's been a lot of discussion this morning about collaboration. Oh, wow, I don't know how more collaborative we can be in the Northwest. We've got a whole host of very positive and interacting entities. The leadership is provided by the Northwest Business Leadership Team, which encompasses cities of Liverpool, Manchester, and the Cheshire and Warrington LEPs. Peter's described the HyNet project. We are actually a co-funder of the current pre-feed study. It gets more tough as the costs go up without the signals I mentioned, but for the time being that is the case. The third Energy Innovation District encompasses a whole host of firms, including Storengy, who I think Duncan's in the room, who will be more than pleased to offer hydrogen as a storage facility in the Stu Black salt caverns. And finally, and my last piece on this, is the Northwest Hydrogen Alliance. It's kind of a voluntary organisation which I set up 18 months ago and now has encompassed 12, 14 organisations and expanding. And this is all about the hearts and minds of the people in order to understand what the offer is for hydrogen. Because without the understanding of hydrogen and without an understanding of what carbon capture storage is, and they do kind of come together, at least in the first phase, then it's going to be hard to get that societal license to operate. And that's something which people kind of forget, that at the end of the day, the people have got to accept that probably energy is going to cost more, and that this pathway to net zero carbon does have some bumps along the road. But in closing, the Northwest, we feel, as an investor and a big player in the Northwest, we feel this is an investable proposition in principle, but we need to see the flesh on the bones. Thank you.